traveling a lot and going to see lots of different tracks and driving for different people has helped me adapt and kind of expand my experience. And like I said, still got some stuff to work on, but we're heading in the right direction. And hopefully we're going to have a good night tonight if Fremont doesn't rain out.
We are back with the third episode of the Ohio Dirt Track Podcast. In this episode, we bring to you an interview with a young 17-year-old driver out of California who's coming off of a strong weekend here in Ohio, as well as a 6th place finish with the World of Outlaws on Monday night. Jacob, tell them a little bit about Mr. Buddy Kofoid.
Coming off of a win at Fremont last weekend, and he got a 2nd place position with the All-Stars Friday night at Attica. He didn't have the best of nights. He had some bad luck. We'd like to introduce you to Buddy Kofoid, who is our next interview guest. He is from Pengrove, California, 17 years old. He raced in New Zealand over the winter. He won 6 out of 7 races there. He drives the 11N for Ed Neumeister and the Linders. He was May 18th Fremont winner. He was 2nd with the All-Stars the other night in Attica. Overall this year, he has 5 top 5s and 6 top 10s.
So you mentioned that you've raced all over the country and then Australia, New Zealand. You've raced at a lot of tracks. Do you have a favorite track that you've raced at so far?
I don't really have a favorite track. I like so many different tracks for their own reasons, whether it's, the layout or how the track surface races, or even where the track is at in the world, or just kind of depends. But yeah, one of my previous crew chiefs on the team I drove for not that long ago, the crew chief would always say, what's your favorite track? And he would always say the next track is my favorite track. So I've kind of like that, and so I would kind of lean towards that. But for me, I just kind of like racing wherever, whenever, no matter what it is.
Do you have a track that you really want to try and get to this year?
I'd like to just kind of race anywhere, wherever we can, wherever our schedule allows. Also, these guys, they have full-time jobs, so it makes it a little hard to travel, but I know I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to Knoxville. Obviously, it's the sprint car capital of the world, and really one of the most famous, prestigious tracks that we get to race at. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting out there and see what we can do.
You also raced in New Zealand this year, winning 6 out of 7 races, I believe. What was New Zealand like over the winter?
It was really cool, honestly. I've kind of said when people ask me, it's probably one of the coolest things or one of the most fun times I've ever had in my life. Racing, and then just aside from racing, I've been in Australia, so you can compare some things that they drive on the wrong side of the road and they talk funny compared to us, but it just, where I was on the South Island, we were pretty far down towards the end of it near Queensland area, which is a pretty popular area on the South Island, but not a lot of population, so it's you pass through a couple small towns and just, it's mainly 2-lane roads out in the country. It isn't very populated, not very busy. There's only 1 million people on the South Island, so it's pretty quiet. But then when you get to the races, there's tons of people there, so it's really cool to see the fan base. And like you said, we won the 6 out of 7 races. We won a lot of big races, or most of the big races that sprint cars had to offer in New Zealand. And we were starting 3rd the first night and broke. We heard a drive line in hot laps before the main event. So I don't know if maybe we could have got a 7th one, but I guess we'll never know. But six in a row was really cool. And it was definitely one of the most fun times I ever had for me on a personal level. And just racing sprint cars was really cool.
I guess that means you'll have to go back next year and try to go 7 for 7 then, right?
Maybe we'll see what happens. I know it's still another 9 or 10 months until maybe we put things together, but whether I go to Australia or New Zealand, I'd love to do either or both, but time will tell, I guess.
Buddy, you said you raced some go-karts, right?
When I was about 5 years old, Actually, I'll go back even further. On my second Christmas, my dad bought me a dirt bike, and so I just rode dirt bikes for 3 or 4 years, and then when I was 5, one of our friends, his son, who was a couple years older than me, raced outlaw carts, which is the same thing that Kyle Larson, Rico Abreu, and people like that. That's where they came from, was outlaw carts. And so when I was 5, I started racing outlaw carts and did that for about 6 or 7 years. And then when I was 9, I practiced in a sprint car a little bit. And then when I was 10, I practiced in a winged 360. And then when I was 11, I actually drove for Dan Simpson out in Nevada and won 4 out of 10 races in his series that he had, and actually the championship. And as I was so young, I couldn't race in my home state in California. When I was 12, we didn't really race in sprint cars or do anything sprint car related. It wasn't really an option or a possibility at the time. So I went back to go-karts for the year, and that was pretty much my last year in outlaw carts, I believe. When I was 13, which was 2015, my dad and I, we had our own car, and California still wasn't an option, but we were able to race in Oregon. So I did about 20, 25 shows in Oregon in sprint cars, going back and forth 9 plus hours or more every weekend. Get in the truck after my dad got home on Friday and race there, or whether it was Oregon or Washington. And then 2016, when I was 14, we were actually able, or I was old enough to race in California finally, which is really nice. And so I went back to driving for Dan Simpson, and we did about 60, 70 shows, 360 and 410 wing sprint cars, a couple non-wing stuff here and there, and won 3 races actually. And I just won prelim night on Friday for the Trophy Cup, which was right now still my biggest win in my career. And then 2017 racing for Dan Simpson again, and did about 70, 80 shows and won 7 races. 2018 drove for Dan more a little bit, and then also got hooked up with Doug Roots. He's actually partially responsible for taking me to New Zealand actually, and won 4 races for him. And then I actually got in contact with Mike Linder, actually, who's kind of runs the program for Ed out here. And part of that was also a big help with Carson Macedo. I can always go to him for advice, and which is really cool, and always talk to him whenever I need to. And, I didn't really have a lot going on in 2018 towards the beginning, middle of the year, so I was asking him what's out in Ohio or what's in the Midwest that I could possibly get in. And one of the names he mentioned was Mike Linder, and kind of got in contact with him and got to know him, and then finally was able to come out here, and we did about 6 races. And then after that, towards the end of the year, I went to New Zealand, and then it was kind of announced just before that I was Ed and the Linders and all them, they wanted to have me as their driver, as a full-time driver, and so here we are, and we're going to shoot for about 70, mid-70s races this year, and we're a little bit down from that due to rain out, but other than that, it's been a lot of fun, and like I said, hopefully it doesn't rain out today so we can race at Fremont with the All-Stars, but man, it's been a lot of fun.
I'm going to ask you a question that's going to kind of lead into Sprint Car World Championship. So what's it like racing against names like Jack Cottonfield, Joey Saldana, Byron Reed, Dale Blaney, and like all the other All-Stars and Outlaws?
It's kind of when you're at the track and when you're racing with them, you don't really think about it, but then kind of when you're home and kind of get to decompress a little bit, it kind of sets in. When we actually had an issue 2 weeks ago when we were leading at Attica, sort of next to Jack, actually, and he got the lead, and then kind of caught him and passed him at Clean Air. And so at the time, I didn't really think about it, but after the fact, man, that's really cool. Got to race with Jack, and race side by side with someone like him is really cool. And there's a lot of good drivers, anywhere, everywhere you go, whether it's California or Midwest or wherever the Outlaws come to town. It's always racing with some of the best in the world that has to offer. But yeah, and then actually, always been a big Steve Kinzer fan in sprint cars, and that's why I was always number 11 in Outlaw Karts. So one of the things I've always wanted to do was go up to race with Steve, and then before I really started racing sprint cars a lot. I'm kind of in the beginning stages when I was just starting in sprint cars. Steve announced his retirement, and my dad always knew I wanted to race with him, and we kind of talked, and it was like, man, and it may not be able to happen now, which kind of sucks. So just kind of accepted it, and then I'm kind of sad they don't do it anymore. But we did the winter heat in 2016 down in Kokopa, Arizona, and there was probably 50, 60 of the best sprint car drivers in the world there. And actually, I was in a heat race, started on the pole, and Steve Kinzer started next to me, so I thought that was really cool. Stuff like that, it means a lot to me. And so yeah, no, finally got to race with Steve Kinzer, so I could say I did that.
Are you excited to race against the PA Posse's best, Knoxville's best, Ohio's best, and the best of the rest at Mansfield coming up this week?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I haven't looked too far ahead yet, but we're kind of looking into the race that we currently have, or whatever race that may be. But I know Mansfield is a really big deal with the purse and how prestigious I guess it's already become. And like you said, with all the best drivers from all different states or wherever they're from. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And like you said, you got all the best sprint car drivers pretty much in the world. Besides the Outlaws, so it'll be really cool to race with them. And like you said, they're all big names. So hopefully we can do good against those guys.
So I was just thinking, you were going through the timeline there, and it's been, the whole thing spans about 7 or 8 years, and you're 17, and I know a lot of people are wondering, did you come out after you finished school this year, or are you doing school online?
I just finished my junior year in high school. So at first 9th grade was my only year in public high school, and then 10th grade was how much racing we were doing and how much school I was having to miss. It was very hard trying to miss more school and absences. So 9th grade I had about 30 absences, which even with good grades and almost missing a full month of school to that extent, they didn't really like that. So I had to do independent study. So it's a form of homeschool. So I've been doing that since 10th grade, so for the past 2 years now. So I just got to have a couple classes every so often, and switch off to 2 or 3 more at the next semester. And I go once a week and see teachers. And so my day was Wednesday. So every Wednesday I would go to school for about an hour or two. Turn in old work, get new work, talk a little bit, and then go home and carry on work, do the work, and then freed up my schedule for racing or wherever it was going to be. And then so they've actually been really nice enough for me to finish off my junior year out here, since I haven't been able to actually go see them. So I haven't been there 9 times this year. I've been out here for 9 weeks, so they've been really cool with that. But it's pretty laid back, and it's geared towards kids who have extracurricular activities like racing or horse riding or dancing or anything like that. And so it definitely helps with what I'm doing. And so I actually just finished this past Wednesday.
It's awesome that you have that opportunity to get it done and do what you love to do, and probably what you're going to do for your career for a long time. So that's an awesome opportunity. I'm glad to hear you're able to do that.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's really cool, and it's helped me a lot with my schedule, and it makes it easier on me and then the school and my family a little bit. But yeah, no, it definitely helped out a lot. And like you said, hopefully we can have a good year and take it race by race. But love to make racing a career. That's why I'm out here trying to get to the next step, and then hopefully move on to something else. And it's all been really fun.
So I got 2 more questions for you, buddy. So the first one is, if you win the Sprint Car World Championship and you get that $100,000, what's the first thing that you're going to buy Steph?
By Stephanie. Man, I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
I think she set you up for that one.
My cut, I would probably take my cut and just